come to Govert's Leap Lookout today to talk about my book, The Mountains Mishaps, Death and Misadventure in the Blue Mountains. This is a book that is a history of the search and rescue operations in the Blue Mountains, and it lists 620 incidents that caused 235 deaths. There are also other chapters which list things like the history of emergency services and also the things like history of storms and floods and snowfalls, and there's a geological history and other information as well. I'm here at Govert's Leap because many incidents have happened here in the past where, especially with people getting lost, so they would go down into the valley there and then maybe cross towards the Blue Gum Forest, which is actually around the corner, and they would get lost along the way. They would miss the track would be badly marked, or they'd be coming from the other direction from around Evans Lookout, because it used to be that the track actually started way on the other side of the Grand Canyon, or they would follow the track right up to where Arethusa Falls is, and they would go out that way. So people would get lost, and they would then do things like they would have people come here and fire a gun or blow a bugle to attract the attention of the lost person, who of course was so far away they wouldn't hear anything. So that's also another thing that you'll notice from reading this book, is you'll learn about the differences in the way that people have used methods of searching for people and rescuing them as well. So for instance, in the 1930s there were a group called the Rescue Clubs, and there was one here at Blackheath, and it turned out that quite often the rescue clubs would go out and then a ranger would have to come and guide them back again. So that sort of thing. So there's lots of interesting stories like that, most of the people actually survive. So they're not all sad stories. There are some really good stories of survival. You can see there are many maps, at least 15 maps I think, and each chapter is about a different cause for an incident. So for instance, as I mentioned, there's a chapter on lost people. There was also a chapter on murders, because people disappeared because they were murdered, just a few of them. It's unfortunately not very common at all, and most of the murders actually happen where people bring bodies here and throw them off a cliff or something. But there have been also 4 serial killers, so you'll find out all about that in here as well. There's also chapters on aircraft crashes and train crashes. So there have been 40 aircraft incidents. Each story is no longer than a page, so you don't have to read your way through it. Even though it's 400 pages long, you can just read a little bit at a time. It's not going to be very, although you probably find that you'll want to keep reading, because they're some quite interesting stories. $55, or it's $35 for emergency service